The Powertrain Perspective podcast is sponsored by TranStar Aftermarket Solutions.
Hi, I'm Bobby Mace from Transmission Digest, and this is Powertrain Perspective. Today, I'm talking with Pete Luban from ATSG. Now, nearly everyone who's spent any time in the powertrain aftermarket at all has benefited from Pete's countless seminars and articles on transmission building. Pete, you didn't just show up at ATSG knowing all you know, so take us through your career in the transmission aftermarket.
Well, in 1963, I was discharged out of the Army, and I was actually assigned to the motor pool while I was last 18 months. And so, I've got a bundle of money in my pocket from discharge pay, etc. Went and bought a new car and started bumming around and trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. So I brought the car in to this repair shop, and it was quite a large shop. They did everything in there. They did transmissions, general repairs, you name it, they did it. And I was talking to a guy about having to service another car of mine, and he approached me with a job offering. And I said, well, I've got basic knowledge. I mean, I did spend 18 months working on Jeeps and bigger vehicles. He says, well, why don't you give it a shot? Well, that's how it began. And eventually I became a partner in that shop. And in 1981, I moved to Florida because I had a revolution. I found out that you don't have to shovel humidity. And as a result of that, I bought a Lee Miles shop, was how I began in Florida. And we fast forward to 1992, and I was attending an ATSG seminar in Fort Lauderdale. And at that time, Wayne had already joined ATSG, and he came up to me and asked me if I would like to work for ATSG. I says, it all depends on some necessary factors. And push come to shove, we pretty much had an arrangement. Barb Cheney was okay with everything. And all of a sudden, in August of 92, we had a slight weather issue called Andrew. And that pretty much tore the place up like you can't believe. So this was delayed, actually, until I actually began working for ATSG in November of 93. And I've been there ever since.
Over those years, do you know how many seminars you presented?
It's funny you ask that question. We had a bunch of the management and however got together, and they asked me the same question. I says, well, you're talking since 1994. I mean, I never kept track of how many I actually did. So they started doing the math, and they come up with something that exceeds 750. So pretty much it's somewhere between 750 and 800.
And did you have favorite places? Because a lot of your seminars were kind of annual events in certain cities. Did you have favorites?
Actually, I did. I really always liked San Francisco. Always had a good time in that part of California, visiting wine country, etc. Chicago was always a favorite of mine as well. Actually, the city that really impressed me was Frankfurt, Germany. I was really impressed by how quiet the city was, even during a normal business day, and how clean it was. Even the underground transit system, you could eat off the floor. And of course, coming from New York City, I mean, I'm comparing it to New York City subways. It didn't even come close. So those are the three cities that stand out in my mind.
What, everybody that does public speaking and education, whatnot, has some moments that are always there in their minds, some memorable moments. What do you remember as being some of those?
Oh my gosh. Well, one, I was doing a seminar in Dallas, Texas with Dale. Dale had a habit of uh, getting you trapped in one of his uh, tricks. And sometimes it could be devastating. I mean, he really aimed for the gut. And I'm about ready to go up there after he's finished. And before he leaves the stage, he says to that whole audience, he says, Pete hates the Cowboys and he don't like boots. And now I got to get up there in front of these guys in Dallas, Texas. And they're looking at me like they're going to pull their six guns out. Fortunately, I was wearing a pair of Justin Ropers. And that's probably what saved my skin. Uh, Another one that comes to mind is we were doing a seminar in Chicago. And all of a sudden, this fellow who's dressed in a suit raises his hand, and I acknowledged him. And he said, Can I come up there for a moment? I have something to present to you and Wayne. And I said, Sure. And he comes up with these two huge plaques. And what it was from the Sons of the Revolutions, honoring Wayne and myself with an Outstanding Citizen Award for all the years of service we've contributed to their advancement in learning about the transmission repair industry. And I was speechless. I was just dumbfounded by it. And I still have that plaque, and it's quite elaborate, but that definitely stuck in my mind. The only other thing that I can think of that won't go away is we're doing a seminar in New York, and all of a sudden a SWAT team shows up and locks the place down. Apparently on one of the upper floors, some guy had a woman holed up in a room against her will, and they come in ready to do battle. And, of course, that disrupted everything. Really, those are the things. Other than, one time in Puerto Rico, I'm sure you know Raul. I mean, he always treated us well, did a wonderful job. And one day he presented to me a mosaic of somewhat of a caricature of myself, Wayne as well, and at that time Joe Myers, because he was the translator. And it was beautifully done. I mean, it was really done by an artist, and absolutely, absolutely beautiful. And really, those are the ones that stick in my mind.
Well, and those are some great memories. Other than seminars, in between these seminars, what were your duties at ATSG, or what? And some of them still are, I assume.
Yeah, prior to an ETE situation, when we were a independent company, being technical supervisor of ATSG caused me to wear many hats. One was to oversee all the phone technicians, ensure that they don't make anyone angry by saying the wrong thing, which inevitably would happen anyway. And then I'd get a hate mail or a nasty phone call from the vendor. So it was my job to teach them tact and diplomacy. I was responsible for creating all the seminar material for the year, all the material for the books, all our technical books, our TechTran books, our specialty books, bulletins. I had to do bulletins, at that time we were doing video segments for our seminars, had to do that. Pretty much all the daily operations that didn't encroach upon Wayne's responsibility as president of the company. So it pretty much kept me quite busy. Now, these days, pretty much what I'm doing at this point in time is I'm still doing all the publication material. If it's printed material or digital material, I'm the guy that's responsible for that. So if anybody's got a complaint, here I am. Um, Other than that, I still watch the texts, the phone texts, um, and pretty much, my duties as technical supervisor has become somewhat less than it used to be, but still keeps me pretty busy.
Now, earlier you mentioned Dale England, and
Yes.
you've mentioned Wayne Colonna as well. Are these the guys you would say you worked most closely with at ATSG? There have been a lot of guys there over the years.
Oh yeah, yeah. But the most significant is without a doubt Dale England, who was my mentor. Man, I tell you what, I love that guy in spite of his pranks. He was really something. Always on my side. Um, and of course, Wayne. I mean, I worked closely with Wayne all these years, still do, even though we're separated by 1,500 miles or so. We still are in constant contact and working together on projects that we have. So I would say Dale number one, Wayne number two for sure.
You know, I've also been the brunt of some of Dale's hijinks, and that's a conversation for a different time, probably. So
Yeah, I would say.
now you're in now you're in Merritt Island, Florida.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your family. I've met some of them, probably not all of them, but tell me.
Well, I got my wife Barbara. We got two grown kids. Um, we lived in Miami for 30 years. I mean, it was getting to the point where I just couldn't take what was going on down there anymore. And I was looking for a place for us that was more peaceful, um, had less crime. As a matter of fact, the biggest crime we have on Merritt Island is someone who lost their dog. Um, and the traffic, the expense of living in Miami. I mean, there were so many factors that finally prompted a situation where I said, look, we need to do something here. We need to get out of here. And I wanted to go someplace peaceful and safe for the whole family. And Merritt Island was the place. And sure enough, it is. And we're very happy here. Definitely.
Now, final question. I know after a seminar, you and Wayne always light up great big cigars. Everybody wants to know where you're getting those cigars.
Okay, I get them from two places. One is online, a place called Famous Cigars. They're located in Pennsylvania somewhere, and they always do very well. I mean, the cigars arrive, they're in perfect condition, their prices are most affordable, and I've got never had a complaint with them. The other one is I try to support local business, and we've got a local cigar shop about a mile and a half from me, who's actually the furniture is quite opulent, very comfortable leather chairs and couches. I can get a drink there. I could smoke a cigar there. So I load up on Crown Royal, light up a stogie, and I'm good to go.
Well, Pete, it's good to know that you're still involved with the technical support of the industry through ATSG. I think I can speak for darn near the whole industry to say that we're all going to miss seeing you out on the road doing seminars, those that you've done for, I don't know, decades. But we appreciate your time today.
Listen, I got to tell you one thing about that. It wasn't an easy decision, but you know that you traveled to go all over the place just like I did. I have flown to this point in time 2.5 million miles with American Airlines. Most people, when you say that, says, wow, but they don't realize what that actually signifies. You live out of a suitcase. You miss everything at home. That's time that is unrecoupable. It's gone. Okay? You deal with problems. You deal with airline problems. You deal with hotel problems. You deal with AV problems. You deal with attendee problems. I don't like my hamburger. It's a hockey puck. I mean, uh, and so, after all these years of doing that and flown that amount of miles and living out of my suitcase, I finally said, you know what? I think I've had enough. And that's it.
Hey, we're all going to reach that point at some time. Pete, thank you for your time today. Love having you here on Powertrain Perspective.
Thanks, Bobby. I appreciate being number one.